5 weeks ago, I went to Eretz Yisrael for the Mir Yarchei Kala. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to spend some time with Rav Shlomo Yehuda Berry, Gaon the Yanuka. Some background. This is an amazing story, but in order to fully grasp it, you have to halt cup to these little details that may seem mundane. So I have a first cousin. Her name is Chaya Tamar. Her mother, she should live and be well, and my mother, Allah Shalom, were sisters. So that makes Chaya Tamar my first cousin. Good, okay. Now, Chaya Tamar and I are 18 days apart in age. We're very close. Chaya Tamar's husband's name is Gabi. Pay attention, this is all important. Nothing I say isn't important. Right. Now, Chaya Tamar knew I was going to see the Yanuka. She asked me to please get a bracha from him for her, as she and her husband, although they have a business, they're struggling terribly. So I have a list of people in my phone that I daven for refuah shalema and for parnasa every day. Right, so here's the list, right? I have a list. You said Shema Kolenu, right? Anyway, I blew it up, right? So this is it. Again, this is important. Okay. So when you go in to see the Yanuka, he has a severe problem with his eyes. He has a retinal disorder that causes him to have a terrible light sensitivity to his eyes. So his office is very, very dark. It's almost pitch black. And his gabbai asked me that I not turn on my phone as the light disturbs him. And when you go into his office, it's literally pitch black with a little candle. So prior to my entering his office, I took out my phone and I started writing down the names. Now, of course, I know Chaya Tamar's name and her mother's name because she's my cousin and her mother's my... Good, right. So I know her name. Now, Gabi, although I know her husband's name is Gabi, he's only my cousin by marriage. And although I have his name in my phone and I daven for him every day, there's a lot of names I don't know his name organically. So I had to write it down on a piece of paper. So I had to go through the list on my phone and get his full name in Hebrew and write it down. So I enter into the office, I talk with the Yanuka about what I want to talk about for 15 minutes, and at the conclusion of my meeting, I asked him to please give a bracha to my cousins who are struggling, and I handed him the paper with their names, and I asked him to please give them a bracha, and I videotaped it because I wanted to send it to her so that she should see that shliach oiseh shlichusa, right? Okay, so I videotaped it. Fine, he did it, he said their names, he said Chaya Tamar, he said the name, that I written. Okay. Then I get into the car with the Yanuka's shamish, who was the one who drove me there and was driving me back to Yerushalayim, and from the car, I called my cousin, and I told her I did it, and I sent her the video, and then she calls me. The video is 26 seconds long. I have the video right here on a tablet. I'll show it all to you. Okay, and then she calls me right back, and she goes, "Thank you very much. Very nice that you gave him my name, but he said Rafal Avigdor, and you know that's not Gabi's name." And I'm like, "What?" Because he said Rafal Avigdor. Gabi's name is Gavriel. You know that. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what did I do?" So apparently, my next door neighbor in Muncie, he had come to me 6 months ago and asked me for a job. So when he asked me for a job, I said, "What's your name?" And I put him on my list. So I have Rafal Avigdor, and then I have Gabriel, right? And by accident, in my nervousness, I accidentally wrote down Rafal Avigdor instead of Gabi, right? So the Yanuka gave Rafal Avigdor a bracha. So I tell the shamish, because he's right in the car with me, and he called up the other shamish, and Baruch Hashem, we got Gabi the correct bracha. Then I call up my neighbor. Whose name is Avi. Okay, his name's Avi. And I say, "Listen, Avi, I don't know if you know, but I've been davening for you, but I accidentally got you a bracha from the Yanuka." So So he's like, what? I said, I accidentally got you a bracha from the Yanuka for Parnasa. So the bracha that the Yanuka said, it's on the video, he said, again, this is 6 weeks ago, 5-6 weeks ago. He says, Rafala Vigdar Chaya Tamar, say Kapitel Yud Gimel Ad Ner Rishon L'Chanukah. That's what he says. Say Ad Ner Rishon L'Chanukah. So then I sent my neighbor Avi the video also. He calls me back. He goes, it's in Hebrew and he's mumbling quickly. He says, what did he say? I said, this is what he says. Say Yud Gimel until Ner Rishon. He says, okay, I'm going to do it. Fine. He says, okay. So what could help? Yud Gimel's not that long anyway. Okay. A week ago today, Wednesday, was Ad Ner Rishon L'Chanukah. Avi called me up and he says, the day after you got the bracha, I went back to my emails. Goes, I got contacted by somebody. Now, I just want to tell you something about Avi. He's in his mid to late 50s, and he was chief technology officer for many, many years for a company, which means he was making a very, very healthy salary. Now, he had two things going against him. To get that kind of salary again, very, very difficult. And for someone to hire someone in their 50s, it's not done because everybody wants someone in their early 30s, right? They don't want people, right? There's ageism around. So that he was struggling for 6 months to find a job. He has 6 kids, and he was in very, very dire straits, very dire straits. So he says to me, the day after you got the bracha, I was contacted by someone, and I was contacted by many people, so I didn't pay much attention. He says, but I said Kapitel Yud Gimel every single day. He says, I went back and forth with this person. He goes, and today, meaning last Wednesday, he says, I said Kapitel Yud Gimel, and an hour later, I signed the contract and I got the job. So, Mavel Afarai. So, anyway.